Hi everyone, I have another little project here. This one was a lot of fun, and I've had a couple of requests as to what was this kit for, because I mean, if you look at it, it's really not self-explanatory. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. So you get this extra piece of ribbon that's tying it on there. That's important, maybe. I'm not really going to say what it is, although the title will tell you what it is. So we have 3 zip ties that have had the big bulky end cut off of them. We won't talk about how upset my husband was. He says, well, they're not good for nothing now. And I said, no, they weren't good for anything with the end on them. At least not for me. And then in this kit, we'll just dump it all out here. You have some quilt batting. Some of the kits were done with strips and some were done with this because, again, this was all donations and I used what I had. Okay. You will also have in there a piece of paper with masking tape on it. Was the only way I could find to get the masking tape, and you don't need very much. You should have a couple or several pieces of a thicker ribbon, like a sari silk. This isn't sari silk, this is a cotton, but it's a tie-dyed. It's really cool. And then some ribbons or yarn. These were all yarns, but they look like ribbons. Okay. You should have a little piece of wire. Now, some of the kits will have a piece of this fused on the string pearls. Some do, some don't. I only had a little bit of the little stuff, so they didn't all come with it. There's a clamp. Of course, this isn't part of the finished project, but it's kind of hot, kind of nice to have when you're working on this, so that's why I put it in there. And a bag of beads. Now, what is this mess going to make? Well, it's going to make bracelets, bangle bracelets. So this one is done with the batting and then a ribbon and then a sparkly eyelashy kind of yarn, and then the wire with little beads, and it just goes on your hand. This one is what we're going to work on to decorate after we get to this point, so I don't have to, finish them all and you watch me. But it still is kind of fun by itself. And then this one has up to the yarn. There's no decoration on this one, like beads and stuff. But you know what? If you put them all together, I think that's still fun. And the thing about this is there's no metal for those that have metal allergies. But in addition, when you have bangle bracelets on and you're writing, now that tapping you hear is my silver bracelet. I don't usually take that off. I made that and I've had it on for years. But I'll see if we can get away from my bracelet. You hear the little beads tapping, but it's not bulky. You could pick up your, I know there's got to be a pin around here some way, or, okay, so you can pick this up and you can write and your bracelet doesn't get in the way. That's what's fun about it. Well, in this, there's enough, or should be enough, to make 3 bracelets. And that's why I wanted to make sure I got it out in time. And I know the video's kind of late in the season, but this could easily be one for you, one for your daughter, and one for your friend. Or one for your mom, and one for your daughter, and one for your daughter-in-law. However you want to do it. So we're going to get started. I did have one sitting here or sitting somewhere else close to where I set many times. But with that, you never know. So we're just going to take this one. Now, with the fat one, you will make a bigger bangle and it will be tighter because it's a shorter piece. So what you want to do is you want to take this and kind of guess, just visually guess Yeah, I know we had a clamp somewhere. And I know somebody's yelling at me right now where it was. So I'm just going to clamp this for now. And I'm going to try it on. And it goes on. But you got to remember, we're going to have some layers on there. So you might want to just loosen it up just a tad. I think I might have went 1/4 of an inch, maybe. Because what we do put on there is soft. And because these are a soft bangle, they can go on like your hand is shaped. You know, bangles, you go buy them, they're round. But your hand and your arm that it's going over is oval. So we've got this. So now we're going to take our masking tape. And like I said, you don't need very much. There's plenty on here. When you get done with the project, paint it, and then you got your own decorative tape. So everything gets used. So I have this, and I'm going to just kind of clamp. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm clamping part of the end. I'm getting as close to the end as possible so that it stays where I want it, but gives me as much room to wrap this around. So I'm just going to put my masking tape on here and get a couple wraps to make sure it's going to stay. And then I'm going to go this way. And yes, I'm getting creases and it's not smooth. And you know what? That's okay. And if you feel the need to put some glue somewhere or anything like that, feel free. I did not. None of these have been glued. They're all held together with masking tape. Now, if you want to add a little bit more, go for it. If you want to just make it secure in your head, that's fine too. You know, a couple of pieces isn't going to hurt. One piece is plenty if you wanted to do that and then tear it and come back and put another piece on top of that. I mean, you're still using the same chunk of tape, but this way you've got 2 seams, 2 starts, and 2 stops. You know, that always seems to be a little added security. But see, it still goes on my hand. It's a lot looser now. And you don't want to get too loose because it will be big. I mean, it could be too big. So you kind of play with that. I'm going to just leave this on here while I decide what I'm going to do, which is first things first. I want to put the quilt padding on. And I intentionally grabbed one of the kits that has the full pieces that you have to cut. I believe in doing as little work as possible. So I fold it in half and then I just cut them. How fat am I cutting them? About 1/2 inch, give or take. Nothing. I mean, if you hit 3/4, that's fine, but don't go over that. So we got these strips, okay? I'm going to, this is probably enough for one, maybe 1.5 bracelets. So now what I'm going to do, and this is not in your kit, but this is something most everyone has. I'm going to use a glue stick because I have it, I like it, and it's easy. So I'm going to take my piece of quilt batting and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it. Okay, let's get you down here a little bit. Oh wait, I forgot. I can do the zoom in thing. Yeah, I'm in a different setup right now, so this works. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit of glue on there. I'm going to take this and put it down here. And because you've got, you know, the fabric and the glue and stuff, I'm just going to clamp it. And all I'm going to do is wrap this around, slightly overlapping. When it gets short, it kind of gets a little bit ornery. I'm going to take another strip. Now, some of the kits do have longer strips already cut because we had them and that's what I used. And actually, I have right over here a pile of strips. So I could have easily used those. But I really wanted you to see what I would consider probably one of the hardest parts of the job, or the kit, is the cutting that. I mean, it's not hard. It's not hard at all, but it's, you know, it's not the funnest part. So I'm just going to keep wrapping this. I'm holding it where I glued it together, just to add a little bit of pressure before I get it all wrapped. So we have one more. I'm going to put some glue on here. And you can use a wet glue, like an Elmer's glue or something like that. That's perfectly fine. This works. And so I'm going to continue wrapping. I'm just going to hold a little bit of pressure on that spot. Sounds kind of like I'm a doctor or a nurse. Hold pressure on that spot. So I'm going to continue wrapping till I get to the beginning stage. Ta-da! We're there. So I am going to put a little bit of glue, or a lot of glue. I'm going to glue that down. And I'm going to little tiny tail. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some more glue on that and wrap it down. So just so it stays out of our way. And I'm going to clamp that. My doggies found their way in here. Usually I have the door shut tight enough. So let's hope nothing goes wrong and they start barking worse than normal. So of course I'm thinking I need to use this one, because this one is this is a chiffon ribbon, and actually was bought in a yarn store. So it's really nice. It's way thick, wide. It does not have to be that wide. If you have some that are narrower, again, kind of in the 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, you could even use this ribbon. This would be gorgeous. I'm going to use this one because I can, and it's orange. So if you are unsecure about your glue, how that's going to work, if it's going to hold, there's nothing saying you can't get a needle and thread and put a couple stitches on here. But why put the work into a project that isn't necessary because other things will work? I mean, we all want to do our projects and we want them to turn out perfect and good and all, but we all have to also find the little steps that don't have to be there, which is why people take classes, is they get to learn and don't make the mistakes everybody else has already made. So I'm going to start this in another spot because I don't want all of my bulk there, although most of it will be. And I'm just going to put that, and this is pretty long, so it's going to kind of take a lot to wrap in and out of there. And because it's wide, I can leave it and put it so it covers a big area, or I can let it scrunch up and it'll be a lot more textural. And you can, of course, I like the frayed edges. I like the gypsy boho part of this. And honestly, I like it better when it's all scrunched up. This part is a little smoother than, normal, or than I like it. I shouldn't say normal. Who's to know what normal is anymore? So we just continue to wrap, whatever method works best for you. Now this would be a good place if you've got the extra fabric, and after you've done this, you can do this with any kind of fabric. I just picked out what I thought was the funnest and thought we could just use that. So whatever fabric you use, this is the good place for you to determine if it's needs to have a little more padding. Now I don't know if you noticed how easy it went on before. It's a little snugger now. It's not hard to put on. It's just a little snugger. I probably wouldn't want to put a lot more bulk around it. But if you've made it and it's a little bit big, put some more bulk around it. So I'm just going to wrap this up and put a little glue on it. It looks so nasty with this purple glue going through this sheer organza fabric, but it's okay. It dries clear. So now the next choices are your choice. Well, it's all your choices. But you can choose some of the ribbons that's in the kit, the yarns, the trims, whatever might be in there. I have a few others that I have over here. I'm going to go with this one, only because all I got to do is put one more thing back in and that kit's complete, okay? So I'm going to use this one. This is Sari Silk, and it's more like a yarn than the ribbon stuff. It's all the strings. It's just really, really stringy, and I like that. So with this one, I am going to put this one on, and I'm going to tie it because it's got such a small amount of surface that I don't want to worry about it not holding with the glue. And this, like I said, is a bunch of little strings. If you was to take this apart and work it apart, you'll find it's a lot of little strings. So I've tied this on. If you want to hold it in place, you can use your little clamp. It also gives you a good handle when you're working on stuff. And then you just wrap this around. And you can wrap it as close as you want or as far away as you want. Okay? So I would wrap it all the way around to here. And then with the little tail, I would tie those two together. When you're all done, you can trim off what you need to have trimmed off. This one has the long tails on it from the yarn. And I love them because I kind of like that when I'm wearing. I kind of like that. I don't know why. Normally that would bother me, but I do on this one. So I'm not going to finish wrapping this because I'm sure you get the idea. If you've got plenty of yarn or if you're using your own and there's enough to go around twice if you want. I mean, because you could go this way and then come back this way and you're going to get crisscrosses, which is really pretty. And then you can stop if you want. That's where this one's at. And when I put it on, it's still real pretty. And you would think the fuzzy would bother you, but yeah, really it doesn't. A fly bothers me worse than this does. So I'm going to put this one to the side, okay? Because I do have this one. Excuse me a minute. So now comes the decision, do you want to leave it like this? I mean, you could have left it like this. You can leave it like this. Or you can decorate it. And I'm going to show you both ways in case your kit came with the little strung pearls. And this one is, I'm going to pour out some of these little beads here. And it's just an assortment of beads. I literally just put them in a bowl and scooped them up. So you have a nice assortment. And let me see. Let's go with this. I'm going to just kind of, because I don't want to, I'm just going to measure this. I would suggest, because y'all got like, just a little more than what you need, just start weaving it on there and then cut it off when you get back over. I'm not going to, I'm just going to do a section of it. So I'm just going to cut off some of it real quick. So this isn't going to be the world's beautifulest bracelet, but it's going to be pretty. And your wire. And I have a spool of wire here already, and it's the wrong weight. It's 20 gauge. So I'm going to come up with this one, which is better. This is what the kits have in it, is this weight, which is 22 gauge. In case anybody is wondering what kind of wire we've used. And yes, I know a lot of my kits have copper, but I have lots of copper wire from my jewelry making days. So I have this piece of wire. I am going to go ahead and cut off this instead of trying to straighten it out for time's sake. Okay, so here's what you need to do. If you're going to do this one, we'll do that first. So I'm going to put the wire on here. And I'm going to give it a few twists just so that it stays. You can kind of fold that in, keep twisting it up so you don't have that pokey end. But if you've got jewelry pliers, or even if you don't have jewelry pliers, I do this a lot. I used to give a friend of mine at the bead store a hard time about this, but it really is okay. I'm just going to take an old pair of scissors, and I'm just going to kind of pinch the wire and curl it up till it makes a little ball or a spiral, and smash it in so there's no pointy ends. So if you've got something that'll pinch it, that's fine. Now, I didn't squeeze it tight because this would cut it because it's a fine gauge, but you had a pair of tweezers, that would work too. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a couple of wraps just to make sure it's secure in place. And then I'm going to take this little piece right here, and I'm going to lay it on here, and I'm going to tuck it under because I wrapped it a couple times. Let me see if I can get in just a little bit closer for you without getting it too fuzzy. Okay, so I've wrapped it around there. Well, I haven't wrapped it. I just stuck it under there. Now I'm going to wrap the wire. And I like to, and you don't have to do every bead, but it's, I don't know, it's kind of pretty. Kind of gives you that tennis bracelet look. So I'm just going to go, and every wrap is going to go between a bead, trying to keep it in a straight line. And I don't care if it tucks up and wads up the fuzzies, because if you decide after you've done this that that's, and I'm getting little beads everywhere there, if you decide that the fuzzies are too fuzzy, you can always give it a haircut. So I've done this. I'm sorry, I keep working towards myself. So, okay, we're going to even snip that off because we've gotten far enough for you to see what it looks like and how it works, okay? So if you've decided that you don't like this extra fuzzy, or it's too fuzzy, just go in and give it a little haircut. See, it's still pretty. So now you've got this, and if your fuzzies are stuck up in there, just rub on it till they slide to the side. And it's iridescent, so it's picking up the colors of the yarns and all that. And that's really pretty. It's really simple, but it's a really pretty bracelet. All right, so you don't want to do that. You want to do something different. This is where mine is tied together right here. So what we're going to do this time, we're going to start it the same, where you kind of tie it on, but twist it and tuck in your end. And now you're just going to pick up beads. How many? That's totally up to you. And I know this is going to make a glare, and I'm sorry about that, but I really have to have the light, or who knows what I'll be picking up. And I'm still not sure. I can. There we go. I can see. I can see. So I pick up, you can do it two ways. You can pick up the beads you can see. Or you could pick, you could pick up 2 beads. You could pick up 3 beads. You could pick up 4 beads. Or you could set and string a ton of beads on your string, which is what I'm going to do. Well, not a ton, but several. I am not doing any pattern because when I get ready to wrap it, I'm not sure I'll do a pattern then. So that one doesn't want to go. Okay. The only rule quote is to put an assortment on. Yeah, I'm really struggling with these. It's 5 o'clock at night. It's dark. My lights are bright, and I've been on the computer all day. So, yeah, I'm struggling with the vision on this one. I'm going to grab this other bag of beads. The beads are a little bit bigger. Not a lot, but a little bit. They're not as iridescent, so the shine is, yeah, there's a lot of difference here. So I'm just picking up an assortment of beads, and I am not paying any attention. No color scheme, no plan, because, look at this. I've got yellow and green and blue and pink, purple. So I've got a bunch on there, okay? Well, you don't want to hold it and wrap beads on the underside because that makes the bracelet tighter. You want to keep your beads on the top. So we're going to I'm just going to start off with 2, and I'm going to for sanity, so I know that they're not going to fall off. Down here at this end, I'm folding it a couple of times. And then I'll just take it and wrap it around. Now, if you just want to put on a few at a time, that may be easier for you. I didn't, maybe I should have, okay? So we're going to put on, well, I just put 2, and now I'm going to put 2 more and scoot down a little bit more. By scooting down, I mean go down the bracelet a little bit more. And I'm trying really hard not to put any on the back side because I don't want this bracelet to be any smaller. And I'm trying to tuck down my fibers right there because they just don't show up very well otherwise. I mean, the beads don't show up very much in that little spot. So, and there's 4 right there. They're really hard to see with this real fuzzy stuff. So I'm going to take this and just do 2. And I'm still sending beads all over. You might want to put yours in a cup. I've just always used a bead mat, but I haven't beaded in so long. So this was kind of fun for me. So that's all you do is just wrap around putting on beads as much as you want. If you want to put on bigger beads, you could put in a bigger bead and then a couple wraps and you know, just kind of go that route. Or you could fill it up. You got quite a few beads there. There's a bigger bead right here. And let's go ahead and wrap this around. See, that red one really sticks out there. Okay, I'm going to put on this green bead here, which of course is laying right on the green spot of the ribbon, so probably won't even show. So I'm going to put that on. And then say I'm happy with that. I can even cross over it. I could wrap around it. You can get real creative with your wire. I'm just going to give it another wrap. And now it's ready for another bead. So it doesn't have to be solid beads. It can be hit and miss. It can be your favorite things. Maybe you've got a, when you're all done and you've got a, well, this isn't a brooch. This is just a sticker, a plastic sticker. But say you've got this gorgeous brooch and you've got this all done, or you're almost done. Leave a little bit of an opening because you could pin this and make a whole new bracelet. So that's just another way to do this. Okay, this one is finished. We'll set this one to the side. So I decided I wanted to do that. Of course, it's not going to stick now. But we can pretend. Because why? Because it's easy to pretend. So we'll just kind of put that right there. See now? Isn't that gorgeous? So, you know, these can go a long ways and do all kinds of different things. I sent several kits out, and I still have several kits to go for this one, and I have the stuff to make more. So if you did not get this kit and you are interested, leave me a message. We will probably have them in an auction for those that aren't artists, and for those that are artists and you got this, enjoy it. And those of you who did not get it, hang on. You know, I send every quarter, and you might just get one of these kits next time. So I'm going to close for now. I'm going to go eat me some supper, and I will catch you all in the next video. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.